Good morning, Jack.
Morning.
Thanks for joining us today. Soon you'll be celebrating your 5-year anniversary here with TSS Photography. Thinking back all those years ago, what led you to coming aboard?
There were several reasons that had to do with it. In fact, when I first started my business, I was in the camp of I will never be part of a franchise because I didn't want somebody that wasn't in my area telling me everything I had to do and basically kind of running the show from a distance. And I didn't want to have a monthly, you got to pay this or else kind of thing hanging over my head every month, and just creating stress in an industry that's already stressful as it is.
Just a little.
When I got the email about about TSS from Candid, since they wanted to put a franchise here, I kind of took a second look at being a franchise. I had already been with Candid for 6 years, so I knew the tools that would be available to whoever did take over the franchise in this area. I didn't want to have to compete with that head to head. Anybody that's already in the franchise knows what tools we have, and if they've been a Candid customer, they know what kind of tools they have. So it was one of those things where I could either be it or I could compete with it. So I decided to be it and do the one thing I said I would never do, and be part of a franchise. Now, some of the factors that went into it, number one, under Candid, I use my name. So anytime you show up, and your name is on the business, they expect you to personally be there, which can be a challenge.
And how many years were you operating prior? Oh, sorry to interrupt. How many years were you operating prior?
6 years.
6 years.
So 6 years under my name. It was one of those things where I didn't intend to get into volume. I kind of dabbled with it a little bit as I was getting ready to retire from the Air Force, and the phone calls kept coming. I kept saying yes, and the next thing I know, I'm doing volume, a lot of volume. So, when your name's on the business and you've got 2 or 3 things going on the same day for volume, it's very difficult to be at those, even though people kind of expect you to show up. So by being part of a franchise, it kind of gave me a little bit of autonomy in that. The only thing that really changed for me was a brand name, as far as what my customers saw. And it was about a year transition there with the current customers that I had, so that they knew I didn't go out of business. I just changed my name for the volume side. Mm-hmm. But it gave me a little bit of autonomy to where I could hire people that would show up under the franchise name versus my personal name. And nobody really questioned it. Okay, so where's Jack at? That kind of a thing. So it's just TSS Photography. They show up, they can help. So that had some to do with it. Also with basically what would be considered franchise fees coming out of the production we do. That was a big factor there, because I didn't want a big, huge bill every month, whether I had work coming in or not, hanging over my head that I had to somehow figure out how to cover. Basically it was the same model I had prior. Now I just had the franchise to do it. That, along with some other cost benefits, since I had already been with the owners for 6 years prior, it just made sense to me to go ahead and jump off that cliff, even though it was still a struggle for about the first year, just paying some of the fees that needed to be paid for the franchise part up front. We did kind of spread that out over a year, so that helped out a lot there. So that was kind of how I ended up being a franchise owner. Just doing something I said I would never do.
And sometimes that's the best thing. I will say one thing: all of those opportunities that you are talking about presented themselves because of the photographer that you are. If you stop taking good photographs, no one would come your way. But we don't recommend doing that anytime soon.
But the biggest challenge now, honestly, as far as owning the franchise, the only thing that I really find a challenge about it is finding those people that can go out and do things and meet the expectations that I have, because I have fairly high expectations, when it comes to supporting my customers. Mm-hmm. So that's the one struggle I do have, is just finding people that, one, can do it, and two that will show up and do it. So, outside of that, it's really been smooth. It's been a huge learning curve, even though I've been doing it, like I said, I'm getting ready to hit 5 years now on the franchise side. It's still a struggle every day to find people that can and will do what we need them to do consistently.
Right. And as we know, when you do find that individual, you do everything you can to take care of them to make sure they're not looking anywhere else. And I know you do when you do find that right
Absolutely.
person there. All right, Jack, not that we want to talk about retirement anytime soon. I know you're not ready for that, and we're not ready for you to do that anyway. But I know you and I have discussed you do believe it would be easier to sell a franchise than a studio business with your name on it, correct?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, even here in San Antonio, there's a couple of companies that have been established since about the mid 60s. But when their owners retired, they literally just closed up and disappeared. It's like there was no, hey, can we sell off our assets, whatever. And I'm sure they probably did. Somebody probably bought their cameras, somebody else probably bought their lights or whatever. But it wasn't like the whole service was sold together. They just kind of, okay, it's July, whatever year it was. In fact, we did have a company, they just literally went out of business in the middle of the year. The owner retired, said he'd had enough, and probably their closest customers knew about it, but those of us that are competing with them and maybe new customers didn't know about it. And there were a lot of customers that were calling me thinking that I was that company, hoping to get prints. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you there. Versus a franchise, since you're not so specific to somebody's name, it's much easier to sell it as a unit, keeping everything together, keeping the customers together, the services together, and being able to do that. And when I first started out, I wasn't looking at it that way. But as I got further down the road, it's like, well, maybe I should be looking at something that when I do decide to step back, I have something that I could pass on to somebody else, hopefully for a profit. I hate to be doing this for all those years, establishing all that, and walk away with nothing on the backside, because most small business owners, we don't have a so-called retirement plan or anything like that. I'm fortunate because I am retired Air Force, so at least my house is paid. A lot of other franchisees may not have that option in their pocket. They may not have a military retirement or something to kind of fall back on. So being able to build a good franchise and something that could be potentially sold to somebody else, is something to kind of build for that way.
Well, again, an option for the future, but the very much further into the future there.
Well,
let's not think about that anytime
now,
soon.
So I'm kind of trying to look a little further down and see where that little further keeps getting closer every year. So
you got many years ahead of you. Jack, anyone who might be where you were a couple of years ago, any tips for them when looking at the TSS opportunity?
The biggest thing I would say is look where they want to be in the future, as far as deciding whether they want to do it or not. In my case, I saw the volume side of growing much faster than the more personal side, which is where I still try to keep my personal brand, the more one-on-one types of things. So if it's something where they feel like they want to do volume, they like doing volume, our model is probably one of the best in the industry, if not the best, as far as keeping our stress level as low as we can, maximizing what we can put out for our customers, how fast we can put it out for our customers. And if it's something where they're looking at going that route, they definitely need to consider being part of the franchise. And in addition to all the tools that we have, which we have a lot of tools, and it seems like every year they come out with more that make our lives a little bit easier. We've also got our owner group, to where we bounce ideas off each other, kind of see how the industry across the country is reacting to different situations, whether it's cost, whether it's products that we're putting out, whether it's, for whatever reason, it seems like there's always one or two customers that nothing ever goes right, no matter how hard we try. So it gives us a chance to kind of talk to other owners, how are you handling this situation, or, whatever the case is. So, if you're on your own, you're on your own unless you just happen to have a good set of friends that are willing to give you honest feedback. But with our owner group, we can talk to each other in a candid format, and basically it stays internal, but we can hopefully come up with ideas to help each other out, nationwide.
Some of the greatest ideas we do receive from our franchisees. So we thank you guys for providing those.
It's a huge help.
Jack, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for these past 5 years. We're looking forward to the next 5 more.
Hopefully it'll keep growing. It's been good because in the last quarter I've had about as much sales as what I normally do in almost an entire year. So hopefully that ball will keep rolling that way and things will keep building. We'll see how it goes.
We'd love to see it. Thank you so much.